Hi Kat. The video today that we discussed that we would make is about our favourite books. So I had a hard time choosing which one my favourite book is because it's always like a dead tie between A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens and 1984 by George Orwell. So today I had to go with 1984 by George Orwell to discuss because that's what kind of mood I'm in. Okay, so it's about, it takes place in the future from the time it's written, so right now it will be the past, but technically it will be present. It's wibbly wobbly, whatever. It takes place in a degraded society that is completely overridden by a totalitarian governmental state and by a man called Big Brother, which actually takes place with the whole party. So in this society, people don't know how to think for themselves. They're completely ridden over by the government, and like they're eradicating sex, so it's only needed for to produce a child, and it's not fun anymore. And they're taking out wards, so people don't know how to communicate with each other very well, and they're turning families against one another because they want to fuel the society purely based on anger and a state of war and hatred, because that's how you can truly rule someone, is if they're completely terrified of you. It's about this guy named Winston who's living in this society, and he just kind of sits back one day and he says, "This is bullshit," and he writes about it in his journal, and he is terrified of being caught, but at the same time he can't help but feel this way. And he ends up falling in love with this woman named Julia, and she feels the same way, but you wouldn't suspect it because she's this perfect anti-sex league woman, but she's beautiful, and they fall in love, and they go and they have sex in secret, and they just talk shit on Big Brother, and yeah, so they end up joining this secret rebellion led by this man called O'Brien, who are working to overthrow Big Brother, and but things aren't what they seem at all, and a lot of stuff happens after they get into this group. So, but I don't want to spoil anything because I want you to read the book. But it's my favourite book because it is intricately intelligent and just fucking breathtaking to read. Orwell's way he strings the sentences along, it's like reading poetry when you're reading prose. It's mind blowing, and it makes you think, and it creeps you out, and it really gets your mind working as to like, this was written back in like 30s or 40s, and he just predicted this is going to happen, and we are headed that way now. And you can, if you read the book, you can see parallels to what we're facing now in society, that's overridden by media, so like Twitter and social media sites and stuff like that. Like, that's where we're headed. We're being, I sound like such a paranoid person, but we are being brainwashed into thinking a certain way and just using slang for everything, and like abolishing the old language, like whatever. But yeah, so that's why it's my favourite, because I'm an old paranoid person. And I think it's just genius, and it's beautifully written, and it's really intelligent, which I think we need more of. So I picked a passage to read from my book, and it's like, I think I would read you the whole book because that's my favourite part of the book, is the whole thing. But here's the bit. I can't tell you what happens, but okay, here. The party seeks power entirely for its own sake. We are not interested in the good of others. We are interested solely in power, not wealth or luxury or long life or happiness, only power, pure power. What pure power means you will understand presently. We are different from all the oligarchies in the past, in that we know that we are doing. All the others, even those who resemble ourselves, are cowards and hypocrites. The German Nazis and the Russian communists came very close to us in their methods, but they never had the courage to recognize their own motives. They pretended, perhaps they even believed, that they had seized power unwillingly and for a limited time, and that just around the corner there lay a paradise where human beings were free and equal. We are not like that. We know that no one seizes power with the intention of relinquishing it. Power is not a means, it is an end. That's my favorite part. One does not establish a dictatorship in order to safeguard a revolution. One makes a revolution in order to establish a dictatorship. The object of persecution is persecution. The object of torture is torture. The object of power is power. Now do you understand me? That just gives me goose pimples. Like, that is just That's so scary. Ugh. But how can people be that evil? It's just pure power. But yeah, that is my favorite bit. Okay, and the last bit of the analysis is if it was a film, who would play the main characters? It probably already is a film. I've not seen it. If it is, I need to see it. But in my film, I would make Winston played by, I think, Martin Freeman, because I've been thinking about it, and I think he would play a beautiful Winston, because he's an older guy, but and Martin is just such a brilliant actor that I think he would portray it very, very well with his sense of, intelligence and dignity, and, Martinness. So I think he would play a brilliant Winston, and then I think that Keira Knightley would play a great Julia, because that's actually who I pictured whilst reading the book, is Keira Knightley, because she's such a good actress and she can, hone in on the silliness yet ferocity that Julia's character has in her. And then for O'Brien, this is a good one. I think that Michael Fassbender would be a great person to play O'Brien, because there's just something about him that's just so menacing and intriguing. Like when he was in First Class playing Magneto, and he was just, oh my god, he was terrifying and a brilliant actor who was just passionate. So there's just something in his mouth. That's what I think. Yeah, so I think that Fassbender would be a perfect O'Brien, and you would understand more if you read the book. So go read the book. Okay, this has been Talking About 1984 by George Orwell with Becca. Ciao.